Good evening and welcome to the Solano County Board of Supervisors meeting for Wednesday, November 17th, 2021. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Supervisor Hannigan? Here. Supervisor Brown?
Yes.
Supervisor Spearing? Supervisor Mashburn? Here. And Chair Vasquez.
Here. With that, we'll now have a salute to the flag and please remain standing for a moment of silence. Michelle, will you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, someday.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, item 1.
Conduct a public hearing to review 3 revised draft supervisorial redistricting map alternatives prepared by the county's consultant redistricting partners based on board input from their November 2nd, 2021 board meeting and receive public input as required by the Fair and Inclusive Redistricting for Municipalities and Political Subdivisions Fair Maps Act of 2019 and subsequent updates in 2020 to the state law, and provide further input and direction to staff on the revised map alternatives and any suggested revisions in preparation for the next public hearing scheduled for Tuesday, December 7th, 2021 at 1 p.m.
Thank you. Michelle, are you going to lead this one?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Vasquez, members of the board. Michelle Hafner with the County Administrator's Office. I also have with me today, I have Chris Chaffee. He's our consultant from Redistricting Partners. And I just have 2 quick items I wanted to touch on this evening. First, what's changed since the last time we were in front of you. We've received 2 additional maps online, which is included in your agenda packet. It's the last 2 maps. I think it's on page 42 and 43 of the agenda. So I just wanted to alert your attention to that. And I just wanted to touch just for a minute on the timeline. As we have told you in the past, you'd have 3 options to make changes going forward. But I just want to make sure that we, if we have to make changes on December 7th, it's going to require a very fast turnaround. And because we're doing this by ordinance, we would need to do some of the legal descriptions. So we are hoping tonight we can get as far as possible without having to make those changes at the last minute. And so Chris is actually here this evening. He has his live mapping system. So if you are requesting any changes, he can actually show you what those will look like as part of the process. So we're hoping that will be helpful to the board. And so
Michelle, quickly, so if we came to some consensus that this is the map we want, that we could then, it'd be the map that would come back on the 7th as the final?
And introduce the ordinance at that point,
right.
And then it can be passed in final approval on the 14th, which is what we're hoping to be.
So I guess a question, Madam Clerk. Do we have to vote on it tonight or just come to a consensus?
You're looking at me, but calling Madam Clerk, so I'm going to go ahead and answer. So if you can get consensus tonight, direct us to go forward to prepare the ordinance and come back on the 7th, I think we would call that a win.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I'm going to turn it over to Chris to give you do his presentation and take it from there.
Thank you for having me back, and thank you for that introduction, Michelle. So So I just want to go over the agenda for this presentation. So we'll go through the Fair Maps criteria that you've seen many times now. We'll review the 3 draft maps, all based off Plan A, with your input from the last meeting. And then we'll look to you to provide input on the final map you like selected, and go through getting to the final map. So our guiding principle, the Fair Maps Act, has these 5 basic criteria, making sure that the districts have relatively equal size, but we have that 10% deviation that we can work with, making sure all the maps are contiguous, they're not islands within of one district and another, that we really look to maintain the communities of interest that you've heard through the RAC and through this extensive redistricting process, that we try to follow city and census designated place boundaries, And finally, that we want to create as compacted districts as we possibly can. So how we've gotten here, of course, is through the RAC process that did have the 10 outreach meetings and presented a report to the board on the communities of interest that they'd heard through that process. And then we've developed a set of draft plans that then have been revised. And in the last meeting, I believe everyone liked the architecture of Plan A, but wanted to make some changes to it, in basically to unify Sassoon. So the themes of the communities of interest that we've collected throughout the process was really to preserve the cores of the existing districts, to minimize splitting of cities or census designated places, to unite Green Valley and Cordelia into one district, to unite Sassoon City in one district, and then respect the agricultural areas of the county. So just looking at your current lines, they are above that 10% deviation, so we do have to make changes. They're at that 14.2%. And so now introducing the new plans, all built from A. So A2, this was a key, I think, that multiple supervisors mentioned, was that we needed to make sure that Sassoon City was whole within one district. Now to do that, to do the balance.
Yes, Jim.
You know, that is not accurate. And you know, and I'll tell you, in light of the comments, you know, I had asked to see a map that kept Air Base Parkway as a divider, and you don't even show that, okay? And, you know, I haven't heard from a single person in Sassoon that says that they want to have just all in one district. And you've heard people testify, you know, that they'd like to have two representatives. And that portion of Sassoon is associated with Travis Air Force Base and the 5th District. You know, the whole neighborhood's named after Air Force bases, and, you know, and for you not to even show that when I requested it, so, you know, for you to continually say, well, we took input, well, you didn't take mine. And so, you know, I really don't appreciate the fact that you didn't even show it, whether it's an option we accept or not. You know, I had asked that you at least look at that. Don't divide those neighborhoods. You actually take a neighborhood from one side of Air Base Parkway to another, total disassociation with the neighborhood they live in, which doesn't make sense. And so I guess you feel maybe the Fairfield people can divide it, but the Sassoon can't. And so I just wanted to voice that. I mean, I really felt that you did not listen to what I had asked you to at least look at one of those maps that would do that.
So Plan A, sir, keeps
No,
air
just
base.
go ahead with your presentation. I don't have that in front of me on that plan, so just go ahead and continue with the presentation.
So in an effort to unify Sassoon into District 3, basically we have dropped down and included part of the airport. We've broken the Airbase Parkway as a dividing line between 3 and 5, and we've divided it down to Tabor between Walters on the east side and Claybank on the western portion. This is the most minimal change to allow for the unification of Sassoon with no changes to the other districts that were presented in Plan A. It also has the highest total deviation of the three alternative plans, A2, A3, and A4, at 7.7%. So you can see that there are just a slight changes from the current lines, mostly between in this Airbase Parkway area, but also you can see that District 3 has picked up some unincorporated territory below the Air Force Base, and there is that swap of population that we went into great detail last time between District 4 and District 5 to balance those two districts. You can see in this plan that there are, of course, city splits, Vallejo split, Fairfield split, and Vacaville split, but all the other census designated places throughout the county are kept whole within a district. You can see here that the total deviation is 7.7%. as previously stated. Now, A3 basically works from A2 and just tries to reduce the overall deviation, total deviation of the plan. And instead of stopping at Claybank, it moves over to Laurel Creek. So there's a larger area south of Airbank Parkway that's in District 5 to basically balance the populations, because 3 and 5 are the smallest and largest districts by population. This allows for this plan's total deviation to be 3.8%. Again, you can see that line will just keep moving west. Again, all census designated places and cities, other than the big three, are kept whole within a district. The final variation, A4, uses the same split between Walters and Laurel Creek, but then adds in the unincorporated area of Telemus to District 5. And this movement allows for this deviation to be the smallest of these three plans at a total of 3%. All the other lines are exactly the same between A2, A3, and A4. It's really the divisions between districts 3 and 5.
I think Supervisor Mashburn has a question.
I'll wait.
All right.
So I think that really brings us to today's goals, which is to hopefully identify a preferred plan, to suggest any final changes you'd like made to that preferred plan, and then we can bring that forward for you to, as Michelle discussed, present it as an ordinance to be voted on first on December 7th, and then on the 14th to be passed for the second reading.
Mitch?
Okay, to address some of those concerns that Supervisor Spearing had and that we had talked about previously at the last meeting, I know that part of the study group, when they were doing the research in the various communities and communities of interest, it was imparted to them by residents in the community that they would like to see Suisun whole. That was never expressed here at the board, except by myself as a desire. Oh, did you? Okay. Now, that said, in order to maintain the integrity of the neighborhoods over there in Suisun, and to also help with, some balance, and with maintaining that line that we talked about up on Tabor, I think that we could and should, in all probability, look at maybe Walters Road as a dividing line for that piece of Suisun between District 5 and District 3. And that would also help maintain the integrity around the base with the District 5 piece. And then they would maintain a representation by 2 members of the board. One would remain with District 5 and one would remain with District 3. And I wouldn't have an objection to making that type of change as long as it didn't throw the numbers off too badly. While you're in District 3 and District 5 to that end, on the other side of Fairfield, there is a piece that you show where Texas Street runs up, and there's a little jog in the 5th District that comes all the way across Texas Street. And it runs over into what I grew up known as the Flower Streets.
Our streets.
Over there, right? Which are also a very distinct neighborhood that are apartments and condos and rental units versus the other side of Texas Street, which is not that. And Texas Street is an economic zone in and of itself, where there are some very distinct needs. If it also doesn't throw the numbers off and there's no objection from Supervisor Spearing, I think that particular piece of the 5th District would be better served in the 3rd District and in that neighborhood and that zone that is the same, right? That's the same type of neighborhood, it's the same type of commercial, everything is the same on that side. I don't know what that would look like here and how that affects those numbers, but I would like to see that if possible. Supervisor Spearing, what do you think about those proposals, sir?
I would have to see how the lines are drawn. I mean, it's hard for me to visualize what you're saying.
So that would have been on, you could really use almost any of
Any
your
of the
maps.
maps.
But
you're saying
I would say that's A2. Let me get my eyes.
Just a question. Would you want Air Force Parkway to be that dividing line?
Yes.
Right? Give everything back?
Yep.
So it'd kind of be.
That's what you wanted to see, right, Supervisor Spearing? Was the Air Base Parkway just be a solid line?
Yeah, so I think it might kind of be working off of A and then using Walters Road
As a-
the
yes,
divider line.
bring it
on the-
straight down,
On the
yeah.
east. And then,
And then bring North Texas straight up.
yeah, so I think, so if you want to switch over to the mapping software, or, thank you. So I think this is kind of the idea. So this is Air Force Parkway across the top in green. This is District 3. And so it's really more like District Plan A, the prior one, or you could A2, but if we give back. So A2 starts with this chunk here from Walters to Claybank, moved up into District 5. And this changes that back. And it also moves the base and part of Sassoon east of Walters over into District 5 to balance population. And so right now in this configuration, you have a total deviation of 6.42, no wait, 6.66. And I think you're talking about moving Texas, so
West of Texas.
West
North
of Texas,
Texas,
yeah.
North Texas.
Go up.
So in,
No, it's that little triangle down the bottom.
That little triangle there.
Yeah, it's this little.
Between Air Base
triangle
Parkway.
With this area, yeah.
oh, okay. And then you would want to move that back into 3.
Yeah. I think that's what they're asking.
So,
But if you didn't move that right now, your deviation is still under 10%.
yeah, you're good. You wouldn't
So
actually.
then you'd have Air Base Parkway all the way to 80 still divided, but you would have Sassoon divided at Walters Road.
Point out for the record, what you're looking at in terms of the color is actually District 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
So you're not, so is it possible to shade so
Here.
that
so District.
District 5?
Yeah. So District 5 is now in purple, and District 3 is in orange. And so the dividing line is Air Base Parkway to Walters, and then the 80. And if I zoom out, you can see District 3 a little better.
But that puts the whole of Travis Air Force Base
This-
into District 5.
Yes. So you can see, yeah.
Well, I don't know that, I don't know how Supervisor Spearing feels about the whole of the Travis Air Force Base being in District 5. I absolutely would not object to that, but just like the city of Suisun feels it's better served by 2 supervisors, I think that it might be that the base would be just as well.
One person said that, let's be clear, but I also.
Mitch finished up with it. So what is it you're proposing, Mitch?
Well, if we have to, if we want to keep that deviation about the same, if we could take that, make Texas Street, because it seems that making the streets the dividing lines and the neighborhoods the dividing lines seems to be preferable for everybody, then making West Texas / North Texas the dividing line and moving those flower streets that again are all apartments and condos over into the 3rd district and splitting Travis between 2 districts so that they have 2 supervisors representing them might be a way to go. I don't know how you'd split Travis, though. I don't know where
You
you'd
just go right
make a
down
line.
Air Base Parkway all the way through, like it used to be.
Oh, yeah, you could do that.
So
That's
Yeah.
the way it
So that
was,
truly makes Air Base Parkway a dividing line all the way.
all the way through. That's
I
the way,
like that.
that's the way we had it last time.
So one of the issues moving the flowers area over is you're gonna underpopulate District 5 more. So
Well, then give them part of,
Then give me part of Travis.
Travis has
Doesn't have enough
very-
population to do
no,
that.
it's very
give them part of 4.
it's not,
As long as the two of us are close.
okay. I mean, is there, like, using 80 and you don't want to use 80 in Air Force Parkway?
I prefer to use North Texas because again, that you're telling me that the most important thing is to keep neighborhoods and communities whole. That is an absolute demarcation there. That it's almost as much as 80 when you look at North Texas and what's on one side of it and what's on the other.
Okay. So then your deviations are going to be pretty high. So now you have a 15% deviation in the plan. So,
So go up to District 4.
okay. So 5 is almost 10% underpopulated. So is there,
There's a piece you can take at District 4.
okay. So this is Peabody and Alamo. And on the southern end, or?
Yeah, the southern end.
Okay.
Just click that part out from Alamo down to the city limits. See what that does.
Okay.
But leave me the prison because it doesn't count anyway. Can I say that one more time?
I think you have like 3 more times you can say.
Yeah. I'm certainly going to tell the inmates that they don't count.
So so this would be Alamo and then Peabody? Like this, okay. So that would get you guys, 4 would now be underpopulated by 5%. So it's getting close, but then someone's gonna have to take some of District 3 because 3 is so overpopulated. It's at 6%. So with this, you'd be at 11. So
Oh, the deviation's 11?
yeah, even with this change, I don't know if moving.
Can we contribute to this change? I mean, we're making changes all over the place. Chair? It seems to me if you're looking for dividing lines, I think another one would be Green Valley Road. You've got a tremendous amount of development happening in that corner pocket of Green Valley Road and Highway 80, and that's in abuts District 2. And if you slipped over to all development, say off of Green Valley Road, maybe to Suisun Valley Road, and that becomes the other piece of District 3.
So
That reduces District 3.
But we need to move population north into 4 and 5.
Okay. But if you're shifting,
So
what he's trying to say is that the majority of the population is in the southern half of the county. And so it's trying to distribute. So right now, 1 and 2 work great. 3, by grabbing that little bit extra area, becomes a little bit more heavy. And so we need to find some population to move north, not move into 2, from 3 to 2. We need to get from 3 to 4 and 5. And so if it's maybe it's coming west from Walters, if there's another.
Well, is there enough of the base? I know the base is minuscule, but is it enough if we were to divide the base that it would do that?
So, let me make this change between 4 and 5, and then I'll show you what we can do. Again, the adding to 3 is going to just make it worse, right? Because right now in this configuration, 5 is 6 is really the problem. 6 is, sorry. 3 is really the issue because it's at 6%, 6.29%. And District 4 is at negative 5.28%. So you're a total of 11.
If you're looking for deviations, though, what is that
It's 11.
percentage of deviation that is with
11%.
it, is 11? Okay,
So
but,
and we need to have it under 10. So basically, we need to move a point of deviation between
right, so you need to shift
3 and 4.
east, is what you need to do, right?
East or north, yeah.
Yeah. So if you shift D3 from, I mean,
You have
yeah,
to just take what, or thinking, actually, if you're thinking about it, 4 and 5 have to grow south and west, right? So
So if I'm gonna have to, I would prefer having Walters Road be the demarcation line between the two, but it sounds like that may not be doable. So maybe we have to use Pintail or one of those other streets in Suisun as the line. It'll have to have a. Yes, ma'am. Because we're gonna split Suisun anyway, no matter
well,
what.
I don't know, do you have to split Suisun? I mean, Suisun seems to be a small enough city and should be a community of interest, right? The city is a community of interest. We've got that with, other small cities that are happening. Our biggest growth is Fairfield and Vacaville, not Suisun. I mean, though there has been building there, but
So-
it seems to me that that could be one community of interest. I only heard from one person that they wanted Travis Air Force Base represented by 2 supervisors.
Well, I've said it.
And last time I checked, Travis, we have the TCCC, we have the city of Vacaville, the city of Fairfield, we've got, county focused on it, Solano EDC. I don't know that you need 2 supervisors actually splitting the base or, adjacent to, but it doesn't make sense to me.
I just want to add, under the Fair Maps Act, it's both cities and neighborhoods are communities of interest. So at some point in time, there's going to be lines. It cannot be easily, a nice little, perfectly shaped pie. It's not going to happen. That's not the way it's designed. So either it's going to be the city of Suisun's going to be divided up, or a neighborhood within Fairfield is going to be divided up. So that's what we're trying to figure out right now.
and
Fairfield's gonna be divided anyway. We know that.
to answer your question, the A2, A3, A4 were all designed to not split Suisun, and to do it using Tabor as a southern border in some respect, and moving population in that Tabor between Walters and Claybank or Walters and Laurel Creek into District 5.
So based on the ask that the Supervisor Mashburn asked, which is the flower streets, what's the population in that box compared to the population that was Tabor, right? If that's a trade.
Yeah, so the triangle of Texas to Air Force to 80 is for 3961.
And the box that you were cutting out on Tabor?
It's to Claybank. It's come on, little one. It's 3650,
It's almost a straight trade.
pretty much.
I wouldn't object to that, but I would defer to Supervisor Spearing to see what his thoughts are on that. Because that changes the Air Base Parkway piece.
Yeah, I just speaking from years of experience, people, it's clear, if you're south of Air Base Parkway, and if you're west of 80, you're in the third district. It's that simple. But once you start screwing around with these lines going in and out, I think it's a disadvantage. And, so I think it's a mistake when you start, you've got two very distinct delineations, 80 and Air Base Parkway, and how somebody's going to have some representation, but, it is what it is. Just, we're going to have to, that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to do that straight line, so we had something we could look at and then start talking about how do you work that one out, and so.
So
What
Chris-
deviation does that give us with what we're looking at right now?
This, with the change, the swap at Alamo included, would make a total deviation of this plan would be 7.41.
But you've taken the chunk out of Air Base Parkway, supposed to keep that whole, right?
Well, this was the move to balance.
That makes the balance
Yeah.
so that you're not at 11.
Yeah.
Split up, Susan?
Yes, at Walters.
I mean, what better of a way to say, well, I'm in the city of Suisun, oh, you're District 3,
Well, Aaron, you don't live in Suisun, and I've heard from quite a few people in Suisun, and they like being represented by two, and so,
I've heard just the opposite, and you're right, I don't live there.
yeah. And so,
So Chris, what is the population at Walters Road if you kept
You went east?
A2 the way it was and only brought District 5 around and split it at Walters Road? And then, so we could balance that little chunk that you took out of Air Base Parkway with what is east of Walters Road.
Just give me a second. Let me pull up A2. It's just slow. Sorry. So you're saying use Air Base Parkway and then move this section into 5?
Yeah, so if you go down to where the Walters Road is with Sassoon, like
Yeah.
Supervisor Van Mashburn had brought up, so the east part would then go back to District 5. What is that population?
Let me
The east side of Walters Road, what's the
Yes, the east side
population?
so if we can balance the east side of Walters Road with the chunk that we took out of Air Base Parkway close enough.
Yeah, so if we go, this is,
So no, leave all of that the way it was. So leave Travis split. So you're just gonna come around Travis, the
just
outskirts.
take this part.
Yeah, you're just gonna come around the outskirts of Travis, east of Walters.
Got it.
So we just need to know what that population is, if it can get balanced out.
And then go all the way up to Air Base Parkway.
Yeah. So it's this chunk here.
No, it's,
No, yeah, you can't go all the way up because then it's not a contiguous,
What's contiguous here?
yeah.
Around.
Huh?
So District 3 would come, it would be united in this by unincorporated territory below Travis.
So no, the coming around, so you would take 5, District 5, and come all the way around the base.
Or you want to go around this way?
Exactly. Come around that way to Walters. But, so tell us what that difference in that population is. And if it's close to what that chunk is that we took out of Air Base Parkway, maybe you can balance it that way. And then Travis is still split in 2.
So this is Walters.
Yeah.
You want me to take, if you want a portion of the air base in both 3 and 5, you need this connector to make it contiguous, right? Because This is 3, and this is 3 here. And then you adding part of Travis. Or leaving Travis in.
I see, you have to have a way to connect Travis to 3,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
So
3's got to come around.
yeah. So if you wanted to basically add this red here and then this part of the base on the east side into 5, the population shift would be 4191.
This would be it here. If you brought 5 around here. Only that. So leave all of this contiguous. Just bring 5 around there.
Okay, so that wouldn't use Walters and their base parkway as the divider.
It would be a portion of Walters down the bottom.
Okay.
Because Walters goes all the way down to Sassoon.
No, not yet. If you wanted to do I guess leave the northern part.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out what that population is and if we can balance it with the chunk that was taken out of Airbase Parkway and to still be within that deviation.
I mean, let's see.
Yeah, and then you can put this whole piece up by Tabor back in 3, right? That's what you're saying, right, Michelle?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That takes care of that.
I mean, this is 3,900 or 4,200 people, so
So the top by Tabor is also,
3,700, I think.
so if we did that, maybe that's a way to balance it closer.
Yeah, so then you can take Airbase Parkway straight across and take this little,
I thought we started there.
We started there in a different way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you take Airbase Parkway all the way through,
Exactly. So now with that, if
and you have 2 board members representing Travis.
exactly.
you
So
got
then
it.
it would be like this.
Yep.
I think this would balance. Yeah, you'd be at 7.72, I think. Yeah, so you'd be under 10%.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
There you go, Jim. Straight line all the way across. That okay?
Yeah, I mean, for my knowledge of the district, I think that, that could work.
I think that could work for me as well. I do. Although that doesn't address any South County issues, if you guys have anything.
Well, I do have a question through the chair.
Yeah.
So is this showing then that District 5 hooks around Travis?
Yes.
I think that's ugly. I think that's problematic.
But there's no
I think
population in
it hooks
Travis.
around
There's
now.
there's no.
Currently it does.
Well, I know what it does now, but
Right.
there are rules in place that change this kind of thing from happening. I know it's not the intent, but I'm just sharing that doesn't look good.
Well, and as far as those rules go, when you talk about populations of interest there, that whole right side that it wraps around outside of Travis is industrial park and agriculture, and it's never going to be developed at all. So as far as being represented by somebody or by a district that is more ag-centric, that would probably.
Is this housing right here? Or
There's some housing down at the south end of that,
in the notch?
in the Notch area down there. There's a couple of neighborhoods on the right side of Walters Road going northeast there, but the greater majority of that's open space out there.
Where does that get us?
So
Deviation?
I think it's, here, let me just,
Kind of can't see that stuff.
Yeah, it's teeny tiny.
it's 6.72%.
Yeah, sounds like under 10, sounds like under what the biggest map was, one of the ones we presented earlier. I like that.
District 5. Yeah, and the most overpopulated is District 3 at 1.89%.
Which ain't much, 1.89, you said?
Yeah, so
see,
it's like,
that's-
it's over by 1,695 people.
Yeah, that's not much at all.
No.
So kind of looking just at the whole map, really District 1, it's sort of interesting to me that it didn't change
Not really.
at all. Yeah. I mean, what is the change? Is there one? Considering there wasn't this growth in the district as it is today.
You know what, I think the most change from the current lines is that
Can you dive
conforming-
in? Because that's the
Oh, yeah.
district I represent. I'd
Conf-
like to.
It's just like, it might be up here, a little change because of the 2020 new census block lines to the 2010. So there's slight changes in a lot of the unincorporated census blocks, so these lines aren't exactly
No
the same.
housing or anything out there, though, so it
Right.
isn't.
So I don't think there is major changes at all between,
Can you pull out so we can look at the whole?
yeah, so I think if you want to, so this is the current lines, go up to this line. And yeah, it's shrunk a little bit. And then just this, like, basically you can see just this outline.
Up to where there is population.
Yeah. And to tell you the truth, the lines, we picked straight lines for the borders because a lot of these unincorporated areas have just different shapes now.
I want to open up this screen. Can you?
Where do you want to zoom in the middle in here?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Interesting.
Good, does that one work?
I think it would.
Everybody happy?
I'm good.
All right. So I do have one card. Do we have any callers? All right. George?
Good evening once again. I'd like to thank Supervisors Mashburn and Spearing for their comments. Sassoon definitely needs to stay divided into two different areas so that Sassoon can get all the help they can get. I strongly disagree with Supervisor Hannigan. I think there are a lot of people in Sassoon that want to stay in two different districts because it makes it a lot better for them to get a vote to help things that they want. The 2 votes is better than 1. And I can't tell the details from the map above, but I get a rough idea. It sounds like it's something that could live with. I'd like to see it in more detail. You can't really tell the streets from this map that well. So it'd be nice to see something where you can actually see the streets to tell more about the detail. I also can compare what it was before. And I guess at this point, that's all my comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. Callers?
Caller with phone number ending in 36. If you would like to speak on this item, please press *6 to unmute yourself and state your name if you wish. Caller with phone number ending in 36. Okay, sir. Caller with phone number ending in 90. If you would like to speak on this item, please press *6 to unmute yourself and state your name if you wish. Caller with phone number ending in 90. Sorry, I do not show either caller unmuting themselves.
That's the only two we have?
It's the only two we have, yes, sir.
Okay. With that, I think you have some consensus? Is that enough direction?
Yeah, that's all we needed.
I would just make sure that, that would be a great opportunity to give final direction, but if this is what you like, then we will go forward, we will prepare the ordinance based on this, get the legal description drafted, and then present it to you for your final opportunity to review it, introduce the ordinance then on the 7th.
Okay.
Really quick.
Yes.
Just want to make sure North Texas Street is a demarcation line, right? Flower Streets
No.
came off.
No.
No.
No, I didn't, not
Flower
this one.
Streets stay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
All right, so that looks like the general consensus that the configuration most of us agreed to, or all of us have agreed to, is the one that we'll work on for the final map on December 7th.
Not that I'm calling for last call, but I do want to just say that for purposes of the ordinance. Now, I do want to just remind you, once you introduce the ordinance, it then will have to, if you make any significant changes, you would have to then reintroduce it. We do not have time, so it's, okay.
I think if we speak anymore, we may change our minds. All right, well, I don't have board comments on, but I will ask for board comments. Jim? Aaron? No? Monica?
Are we getting close to closed session? Because there was
Yep.
something I wanted to present.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to ask the chair, if I could make a comment right before we go into closed session. Would this be an okay time?
Yeah, it's
to
an
state
okay
that?
time.
Okay, hold on, let me get glasses on so I can read. It's always helpful. Some of you may have seen the Fairfield City Council agenda last night and the report from the city manager and the chief of police announcing the closing of the Woodland Parole Unit and the moving of the state parole staff to Fairfield as of December 1st. The board is in receipt of the opposition letter that our sheriff sent out to the state in protest. Since we don't have another board meeting scheduled until after this is supposed to occur, I would suggest that those board members that are interested, that you send a letter, or that if there's consensus, that the chair sends a letter on behalf of all of us asking the state to reconsider the closure of the Woodland Parole Unit. And I'm sure that staff would be available as a resource if we need them.
And also the City of Fairfield's PowerPoint is available too,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
which I think is a pretty good statement as to what their concerns are. So any opposition to me working with staff and sending a letter? It would mean that 400 parolees from Woodland would end up having to come here.
Will that change the lines on the map?
Yeah, they're not in prison, they are residents.
Yeah. All right. Yes, Michelle.
Sorry, I thought I didn't realize we'd sort of closed out the redistricting. I did want to, if it's okay with the board, give you a quick update on the state redistricting.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a couple of maps, and I gave Alicia some to give to you, but there's some for the public as well. I did want to note that as of late Monday, they have actually put out their draft maps, and the assembly districts and the Senate districts, the state districts, are what you agreed were fine. However, if you look at the congressional map that I've just given you, the blue line is what is being proposed. The pinkish line is what is existing. And so you can see from that we would have, so there's a lot of problems here. It looks like Garamandi's district is being pushed north of us, so we would be only in Congressman Thompson's district, but not only have they taken out Benicia and Vallejo, they've now grabbed Fairfield and Travis Air Force Base and put it in with a Bay County district. And so I did know that was a concern to you. I try to get, so they have a process online now where you can sign up for appointments to speak on behalf. I tried to secure us an appointment. They've all gone. They released more appointments yesterday. By the time I got into it, it was all gone. I even asked our lobbyists to also try and get that for us, and they weren't able to. So I did go ahead and provide comments to them because I wanted to provide the comments early because the meeting started today.
Just a comment about this. I think to be correct, you should have showed both of those districts. I guess you kind of do.
Both of which districts?
Well, both Thompson's and Garamendi, because Vallejo and Benicia were with Thompson. And anyway, I've had conversations with Mike Thompson about this because he does represent the city of Vallejo. And, we both feel that it is problematic and could be challenging as it relates to State Route 37 and some of the other work. It seems to me that there is maybe a petroleum industry influence going on because of Valero and all the refineries on the north part of Contra Costa County going all the way over to Richmond, which is somewhat interesting. But what I was told by Congressman Thompson was that there's a potential that John Garamendi could represent us in the, I didn't know this, and I don't know why I don't know this, but congressional representatives can represent areas that they don't necessarily live in.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't think we lose in that regard, and that we would still have representation by Representative Garamendi as well as Representative Thompson as it relates to Vacaville, right? Because Vacaville's not a part of that shift. Is that correct?
No, all of it is. So whole of Solano County, the north part, goes into that one district. So Garamendi.
So does it, and so is Dixon in that district also? The map's fuzzy, so I can't really tell.
I know, you got to sort of follow the, so the hard part is that I didn't have a GIS map to do the maps like we normally do for you because I had to get this to you fast, but you can't see the county line, but.
The L that comes down. Is yellow.
Exactly. And you
That's the
can
boundary
see
of
that
Solano.
it's, and it's just Benicia, Vallejo, and
Oh,
Fairfield.
just right there at the tip where it notches.
Exactly.
At the very top.
Yeah. So I did put in comments that it's problematic for Solano County to have Travis Air Force Base in a Bay Area representing us. I put forward all the other discussions you've had about State Route 37. So I've pushed that all through to them again.
It's not good.
So I just wanted to alert you to that.
A good note to end on.
Yeah.
Well, 1 hour we did this. It's great.
So did I get to you, Mitch, for comments? No, Mitch, no comments? I don't have any either. We'll now go into closed session. Is there anything possibly to report out? Okay. With that, Madam Clerk?
Public employee appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, titled Director of Child Support Services.
The Board of Supervisors from closed session. 5-0, Leanna Peck is currently the Director of Central Sierra Child Support Service Agency, and the board has chosen to appoint her as the department head for the Department of Child Support Services in Solano County. Is that enough?
Yes. Wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.
And to
All right.
all a good night.
And we had board member comments before we went in. I'll adjourn the meeting till December what?
December 7th.
December 7th. At 9 o'clock?
Yes.
All right.
Thanks for using WebEx. Visit our website at www.webex.com.